Hello and welcome to our Update 31 preview here on twitch.tv/DDOstream. You can also find our videos on youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube to get our videos in your subscription feed. And you can find our full Twitch live stream schedule, again, on twitch.tv/DDOstream. We're here today to preview Update 31 Gnomework. Going to show off some new quests, talk a little bit Fighter Kensei, and also answer your questions. If you would like to ask us a question in chat, please feel free to do so. We can't promise we're going to get an answer to every question in chat, but we'll sure give it our best shot. Let me do some introductions. First off, the disembodied voice you are hearing here is DDO's Community Manager, Cordovan. I'm not on camera here today. I'll be the one behind the keyboard and driving this thing. With me also is Knockback. How you doing, Knockback?
Good.
You're on the left there, according to the way this video is showing up. You are a content designer, and you've done a lot of quests in DDO, along with one of the quests here in Update 31.
Yep, I make dungeons.
In the middle is executive producer Severlin. How you doing, Sev?
I'm doing great.
Great. Thanks for being here on relatively short notice. I know we've got some bugs going through the office, so it's great to have you in the office today. And then finally, we have the mysterious Kintani. You haven't been on camera before. I dragged you on camera today.
You did.
Yeah, and but you've been with DDO for quite a long time. You were part of the initial launch team, and you've worked on quite a few other projects in the building, and you've been back on DDO for quite some time now, doing quests along with things, some art-related things. I know Creature Companions is something I often know you as doing, and yeah, I think that's probably good enough for the introductions. Like I say, we will be previewing Update 31 here, then we'll be answering your questions after we do our preview here today. I do want a quick note that the preview is taking place on an internal development server today. So there may be a few things that are still kind of in the works. If you see a little bit of kind of polish that needs to be done, that'll be done. And when will it be done by? Let's answer the big question. When is Update 31 coming? We're planning to release it next week. Stay tuned for a more exact day and time announcement on that, but we are working to get Update 31 out to the live servers next week. So, in general here, what can people expect to see in the quests in Update 31?
So there are 3 new quests, and they are all free. 2 of them are in Eberron, and 1 is in the Forgotten Realms. They're all dealing with gnomes, given by gnomes, hence they are Gnomework.
Exactly. And now these are 3 free quests. They are standalone quests. They're not part of an overarching story per se here in Update 31. And as part of that, we also have split the level ranges up on the heroic side a little bit.
Yes, so one of them is CR 13 on heroic, another is 15, and the third is 17. On legendary, though, they're all CR 31.
Yep. And then, of course, that's based on normal, so it'll be 32 on hard, 33 on elite. So this first quest here is our quest that's in Memoirs of an Illusory Larcener.
Yes.
There we go.
Memoirs of an Illusory Larcener. You meet a gnome illusionist in the harbor, and he wants to tell you a story. And so you talk to him, and he teleports you into the story, or creates the story around you, depending on how you want to look at it. And he sends you into this world where you're sent on a mission, and things take off from there. I don't know if you could read the dialogue at all, but
You probably can.
Yeah.
It's on our screen that it's a little bit on the
Yep.
more silent or tiny text side.
But it's very much like other quests in some ways, and very much very unlike all of our other quests in other ways. But we'll leave that as a secret to find out.
Yeah, I will say we're aiming for spoiler medium here. We're not going to show off the end of most of these quests just because we don't want to spoil it. We just really want to give you a bit of a taste of what you can expect when you do step into these quests next week. This person's an upstanding citizen. They even say they are.
Clearly.
There's some pretty great text in here, I have to say. The NPC text is pretty hilarious.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, like I said, it's not quite the standard quest.
So this was really, as I recall, maybe you can actually talk a little bit about this, Sev. You sort of gave our designers some real free reign here this time around to just kind of make something, since it was a standalone, free pack here, to just say, hey, what do you want to make? We just kind of did it that way a little bit, as opposed to, say, an overarching storyline that needs to tie together in certain ways. So we let them have some fun with it, I guess might be the best way to say it, huh?
My hope is that when the players play through, the personality of the people creating the dungeons will also shine through, for better or for worse. I think for better, but take that as you will.
Nice.
So right, and No Worries had an idea about putting in a gnome illusionist, and the quest I was working on also had a gnome involved, and that's how we ended up with Gnomework.
Yeah.
As it being a theme, even though they're not really related except through gnomes.
I will quick note for those who are wondering about, say, my hit points and how come I'm not dying eventually and things like that. I'm on an admin character, and I'm doing that so I can just stop in the middle of a fight and point something out. I can kind of speed us along through these quests so we don't have to sit there and watch all the combat, that kind of thing. And I can do some admin abilities, so I can't die, and I'm just kind of giving you a little taste rather than, say, trying to give you an experience on the challenge level and things like that you will see here. So I'm actually going to skip past some of this here.
Which server are we on?
That's actually a good question. I thought I booted up Flamekeep, but yet we're in this quest, so...
You can still get into this quest. I'm a little bit mystified by the Elf Rangers, but...
Yeah.
I will say you will see some bugs in this quest, because this is the quest we're still working away on.
Yeah, we're most... This is the reason Update 31 isn't out this week. Potentially. Alright, there we go. Some thieving elf couriers.
You don't have to go home. You sure can stay here.
There we go. Artifact acquired.
Back to town. I think she forgot to mention that the...
This is some new teleportation stuff. We really haven't seen this.
Well, it's not. You're not even teleporting. Like I said, the world is being created around you. So you're not moving. The world of the story is transforming itself where you stand.
You can't trust gnome illusionists.
Yep.
In case you wonder why these creatures are just sort of disappearing like this, it's because I'm using an admin ability to just sort of automatically kill anything within range of me.
Right.
Probably something you'd like to have, huh? It'd be pretty handy during those raid nights.
Yeah. It's something we call technically cheating.
Yeah, right. Alright, well, I don't know how much more we really want to spoil on this quest, do we? I guess we'll hop into this next...
talk to the dwarf again and show him
Yeah.
the next place you show up. Of course, then you have to find him. There he is.
There we go.
For a... well,
Alright, so now we're on a, we're on a boat.
I apologize for the smell, but
Perhaps a
I
flying boat.
do want this story to be out.
Alright, so I'm going to pop back out and do the next quest here.
So which one are we going to?
It has to be yours. Though.
Yeah, it'll be yours.
Yes, I guess.
Gotta recall up first. I think I need to quick call up my work email to get that teletube. Unless you know it off the top of your head.
Wactility DQST underscore standalone underscore U31 underscore my name.
Oops. And .wc.
You don't necessarily need the WC.
Oh, yeah. There we go. So as you can see, we do have heroic and legendary versions of this. Legendary is 31, 32, 33. This one is Good Intentions, which is 17. 18, and 19. And we will note that the loot that you can find, the named loot in these quests, are at the same level as these quests too. So we have 15, 17, 13, 15, 17 loot
Yep.
on this time around too, which is a little bit different. Not something we've done a whole lot of.
Yeah. We like to use the free quests to help, flesh out the level ranges. So we did that on Heroic. So you've been asked by a gnome enchanter to come see an exhibition of the arcane in the Saltire district, which is someplace you've been before, but the last time you were in it was during the missing, when it was very dark and foggy and horrible, horrible things were happening. Thanks to your efforts, though, the Saltire district is now considerably a happier place. And it's now populated by various arcanes who live there. And they're having a festival of the arcane. And this gnome is showing off his golem he's made. And this golem is designed to repair Stormreach. The golem can automatically animate objects around it, and the objects will help him repair the city. So he could animate hammers, and they would hammer. He could animate saws, and they would saw.
Nothing can go wrong with that.
And so, yes,
That's
clearly,
a foolproof plan.
this is a solid, foolproof plan. No flaws in it whatsoever. So here he's bringing the crates to life, but the golem wanders off, and the crates are attacking you, so something has gone terribly wrong. And you have to fight the crates.
Boxes finally fight back.
Yeah, right. The crates finally fight back.
Yeah, the crates have finally had enough. They're attacking you. So are those weapons that were over on a table nearby.
And some other things too, actually, throughout this quest. You're going to see a few objects that
Right.
you have not typically seen a whole lot of. I'm thinking of the stuff one of our artists did. You know.
Yes, and if you go a little bit further into the quest, you can see some of that.
Yeah.
So just hop over the canal here, talk to Orban again.
And he's saying, "Hey, I need some stuff to take care of this," basically.
Right,
So.
he wants to make a wand to help him control the golem. For that, he needs pixie dust, a unicorn horn, and a beholder's eye. First up, we're going to look for pixie dust in this weapon shop.
Take care of this. There we go.
And interesting.
I just
Oh,
did it.
there's- yeah,
Oh,
okay.
wow, it's right there at the
Yeah.
center. All right. That works.
So don't kill the things.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because we want to see some of the things.
And this one's going to take you all over the Saltire district. Everything, for those who are familiar with the Missing Quest, you'll be in the underwater sections, above sections, some tavern sections, and really just a whole bunch of different
And you'll be
places.
seeing some spots like where we are right now, which you haven't seen before. Yeah, the chairs are trying to kill you, as they do.
Yeah, yeah. You can't sit in them, but they can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just one step closer to having chairs on the monster manual. And I don't know how much I really want to spoil here. Part of the fun of this quest is just how much
Yeah.
interesting stuff is in
Don't
here.
spoil too much
You
of
could
it.
go
Yeah.
into the next room, but not the room after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spell books are the casters, as you'd expect. So yeah, we can go to this room and then wrap it up.
Oh yeah, right.
So we're coming up to a room, a perfectly ordinary art gallery. Nothing. Oh, well, there's a crate from the hallway. But yeah, what could possibly attack you in here? Nothing. Nothing at all. Not a thing. Ah! There we go.
Oh, it's about time. By the way, I happen to know, during one of our PAX East parties that we had several years ago, this dragon poster was made into a full silkscreen poster and given away at the party. So there is someone out there who, I know who it is, I'm not going to name him here, who actually has it on his wall. So this just means that he could theoretically have some dreams where his painting attacks him, and it would actually, actually be the thing. So, all right, now at this point, I'm going to have to switch servers here real quick. So why don't we answer a few questions? This is the one, right? Yeah, because I need to do it for the other one. So we're going to answer a few questions from chat here while I boot up our other game server, and we could show you that third quest. So probably one of the first questions, let's go scroll back to the top, that I know has been asked by a whole bunch of people today, and that would be, what's up with Cannith crafting?
So Cannith crafting, we're looking at doing it for the next update. One of the issues that we're running into is we've revamped random loot, so even if you have good loot, random loot is potentially interesting. You have a reason to look into the chests. And when we first announced Cannith crafting, a lot of the players expected Cannith crafting to make even better than random loot. But if we did that, then all of the work on random loot that we did would essentially be undone. So what we're looking at Cannith now is we want Cannith to be valuable to the players to make great loot, but not necessarily as good as the best stuff you can get from random loot. And so we're going to need a lot of feedback from the players on how best to do that so that Cannith feels like it's worth your time without making it better than the best of random loot, because otherwise you have no reason to look into the chest anymore other than just Cannith fodder for deconstructing. And so that's the ongoing concern and challenge that we have in doing Cannith. So, but we'll be talking to the players about that because we'd like to get it in for the next update.
Great, very cool, very cool. All right, so basically, just due to the state of one of these quests, I'm switching servers so that we can go onto a different internal server here and show off this third quest here. We're going to be particularly, I think, spoiler light on this one because I really don't want to, particularly, like, say, ruin the end of it. I will quick note. Let's see if we got this back. We do. All right. So this one is our Evening Star quest. I should note that 2 of the free quests are in Eberron, and one of them is an Evening Star here. You'll actually find the NPC to this one just outside of the Evening Star Tavern.
Correct.
Yep.
Kind of on the corner.
Just on the corner of the front porch.
And this is a heroic level 15 quest. Again, epic is, or legendary is 31.
Right, so you get to go to the Stonelands.
So what? This is the one you worked
This
on,
is
right?
my-
So what can
my
you tell
part.
me about this quest? What were you up to? What were you thinking?
So at this point, what basically has happened is Gnome Adventurer, who's a rogue, because all those spellcasters are snickety, was adventuring in the Stonelands with her companions, and they found a tomb, and they found a secret entrance in the back of the tomb, and then they got ambushed and separated, and she wants you to go and save all of her friends. And this one was basically designed to be a very traditional, old-school dungeon crawl with lots of variety on the inside and different environments you can get into.
Different monsters.
Hey, again, I'm kind of doing the shortcut method to get us through this quest a little early, so I'm not going to do all the combat and all that sort of thing for you.
I think you just like using the admin commands in the show.
You're not wrong. You're
I
not
think,
wrong.
yeah.
The power.
Yep.
He's like, how can I make these streams meaningful? But then he's like, oh, well, I can't. I'm not going to not use the admin command.
Yeah,
so
right.
just kill everything. Then the players wouldn't be jealous.
Hey, you guys are the ones that let me go mad on our 10th anniversary. You know, you want to talk about I have the power. It was like I can what? So I can do what on the live servers? Okay, I can do that. That was pretty great.
This is the tomb area that they talk about finding in the beginning. Grand secret for how to find the secret doors being revealed to you on screen.
That's right.
There is actually, if I recall, a little bit of texting telling you, that you see the spark.
Yeah.
It does look cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a Netherese tomb for those who are connoisseurs of tombs.
Are we revealing like which way you want to take?
Yeah,
That-
this way.
Yeah.
So you were saying a little bit earlier, kind of off camera here, that this quest is also, I wouldn't say unique, but somewhat of its own ilk in that it has a very large optional section to
Yes.
it as well. You want to talk a little bit about that?
The optional section in this dungeon is probably about as long as the actual dungeon is on its own. And covers an entire area of the world and several different types of monsters that don't appear in other parts of the dungeon.
Right. So we've killed the boss here, but we're not anywhere close to done with the main dungeon, and then that's not even counting the optional, which is dungeon length in itself.
Yep.
I'm going to get to the one point. Is that off to the right here? Can you find me that secret door again with the new
Maybe-
guys? Here we go.
There you are.
Here we go. So what you're seeing here is the new monster that's going to be coming in update 31. This is, well, these are the methods. And then there's also the Umbra Hulk here.
Yes, we finally got the Umber Hulk in.
Select these methods.
We have been trying to get the Umber Hulk in for a long time, but finally gets to make his debut. And what better thing to make a debut in than a dungeon crawl set in a cave? Can't quite tell.
You will in just a second. I'm just kind of clearing out so we can
Yeah,
focus on
yeah,
these Umbra
that's-
Hulks a little bit. All right.
Actually, I like the shaky cam.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
You just kind of show them, and then you cut off, so that the players get only a glimpse, kind of like Cloverfield and the monster.
But when their
See
eyes
everything.
glow, they're doing their confusing games.
So Umbra Hulks are a unique creature in DDO, not just because of this sort of daze ability that they have, but they're also, what was the term you used? Wild, is that right?
These particular ones are wild, meaning they will attack other monsters in addition to you.
They're just hungry.
Yeah, they're just hungry.
They don't care what it is, they'll eat it.
You anger an Umbra Hulk. Doesn't matter if you're
Yeah.
for the dungeon or against it, they will try to take you out.
So I was saying last night, though, they're actually interesting monsters because they are intelligent and telepathic. So, well, sometimes they just want to eat you. Sometimes they may have other more devious plans.
All right. Let me see.
All right, we don't want to show the Umber Hulk off too much.
Yeah. There we go. And
That'll be our next
I
update.
really kind of think that should maybe be about all we show at this dungeon. Does that sound
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
right to
agree.
you? Yeah.
Wouldn't want them to see the cool surprise ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next
Tell 'em
update will be
there's
Umber
surprise
Hulk work,
ending.
not
That in
Umber
itself
Hulk.
is a spoiler.
It's a giant slime. No, I'm just kidding.
Giant slime.
So why don't we take a couple more questions from chat here? Any chance of expanding on the Underdark? That's actually kind of ironic.
Well, we have an underground dungeon in the Forgotten Realms.
Nah.
Nice.
It is likely also that at some point we would be interested in doing something else in the Underdark since
Yeah.
we all like it.
Yeah, at some point we will
Yeah.
definitely want to do a proper update set in the Underdark. This is
certainly
kind of
there's certainly creative energy for doing that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not this update.
Looks like our camera might have frozen up here. Let's see if I can re-catch it. Oh, all right. Fine, whatever. I'm just gonna have to go without it. We're not stopping for anything at this point. All right, so let's get to some more questions now. Probably the other big question that is coming up in chat here, not surprisingly, is can we talk a little bit about the current state of lag in raids in particular? What are some of the things that we've been doing? I can address the first part, which is that as you've seen in recent weeks, we have done some things both at the data center, at the game code level. We've actually been working quite a bit in recent weeks to mitigate the lag as best as we can. Seb, where would you say we're at now, and where are we going to be in the near future?
So right now we have an issue in that there's a hitch in the actual routing, especially from Europe. And if they go into one of our specific internet routing paths, if you will. I don't want to get too technical. That it can cause some lag, and what you'll see with that is stuttering, maybe a little bit of rubber banding. Until we're working on getting that fixed. There is as with anything with external vendors, it takes time because it involves contracts. So that's what we're working on now. We've done a lot for the lag in terms of doing this recent update, which fixed a timer issue where the timer code we were using, apparently in a virtualized environment, takes much longer to execute, and that was causing lag. We also fixed some lag involving the Barbarian. So if you travel a lot with Barbarian friends, or you yourself are a Barbarian, you should be better. After that, we're going to be looking into lag on specific dungeons like Mark of Defiler.
And you have Defiler with Just.
The Defiler Just, rather.
And if you guys have particular dungeons, or like every time I go into this dungeon it lags, please let us know.
Yeah.
It is my belief currently that other than the network configuration problem, that the lag shouldn't be any worse than before we moved the data center. So we had some lag before the data center move, for instance, in those raids, and now it's basically down to this network configuration problem where we're going to be working on getting a better throughput on a specific part of the network. The maddening thing is that if you're going from the United States, sometimes you get routed through an alternate network, which is fine, and sometimes you don't. So it's very hard to trace down what lag is network related and what lag isn't. So we'll be looking for that. The players have been great about giving us good feedback, including trace routes and such. So I appreciate that. And when we take the next step after we fix this network problem, then we will definitely be looking for input on specifically what raids are lacking. One of the things that we're looking at is this an overall lag at this point, or is it only raids, or is it only specific raids? So reports about what you were doing, like this particular raid always lags, but I'm not seeing that lag when I'm traveling with 5 friends is particularly useful.
And if you're playing a raid, how many people are in the raid with you, and what classes they are. If you
general
happen
class
to know.
layout.
All right, let's shift gears here now that I've got the tree up to the Fighter Kensei. This is probably one of the other main things coming here in Update 31 is a rework of the Fighter Kensei tree. I know that, Sev, that's something that you have had a direct hand in working on here. What were your goals with Kensei?
So Kensei is the only fighter DPS tree, and before we started working on it, it was very flavorful because it required Monk to really reach its full potential. And even though I like the concept of a Kensei, because we already have 3 trees, one of the goals was to make it work not only with the traditional Kensei, but with an armored fighter too, because the traditional D&D fighter is armored, and we didn't want its only DPS tree to go away from that.
Yeah.
So one of the goals is that most of the things that require light armor have been multi-selected or have been made more generic so that all fighters can use them.
You can see the write-up of the Fighter Kensei on our Lamania forums here right now. I'm not going to really go, I guess, enhancement to enhancement here, but you will take a weapon specialization as you have in the past, and then you'll see bonuses to hit and damage with that specialization as you go up the tree here, culminating in the Weapon Master. So the total, if I'm just looking, and this might be different, this is on Lamania here, we've got C +3, and then just a whole bunch. It's like, what, plus 12 or so that you can do all said and done?
We wanted to make sure that the Kensei had an advantage using their single weapon in terms of raw statistics. So yeah, they go higher, and two-handed weapons also get some good bonuses there as well.
Yep. Additionally, we have got your typical strength, dex, that sort of thing. Weapons will do improved destruction. Some of the other big changes are also in the tier 5. Is that correct?
There's some tier 5 things.
Yep.
There'll be some additional tier 4. One of the things we've tried to do is Kensei is fighter's supposed to be a generalist, and so one of the interesting things about Kensei is that some of their bonuses give pluses to all abilities. In particular, there's a boost, an action boost that gives you bonuses to all your ability scores and your capstone. So there's a lot of different builds that can use that. So an intelligence build, a Purple Knight charisma build, these can all benefit from these overall bonuses.
Okay. And from what people have seen on Lamania, are we going to see any further changes, say, by next week? I know there was a couple of Tier 4 things that were on the edge of coming
We'll
in.
definitely
right?
see further changes.
Okay.
If not by next week, then in a point patch right thereafter. I don't think I want to hold up the content for it. Right now, the core 18 is too weak, and overall the Kensei is doing too little DPS. But the problem is because the Kensei works so well as a multi-class, we don't want to put too much DPS down in the lower tiers. So the core 18 is a good candidate there, and then we'll probably boost the core 20. We want it to be attractive as a multi-class, but we want pure fighters to also have something to look forward to.
What about the potion thing? Is that going in, do you think?
We haven't talked about that, so
Okay.
you kind of spoiled it. But
Yeah.
yeah, one of the things we've been talking about is having something that when a fighter takes a drink called Drunken Master, that they can benefit. Either a big boost to healing amp. So what you can do is you can double drink a potion. The first one will heal you and give you a big boost to healing amp, and then further potions will be more effective to keep them to give them extra boosts to potions. Because we don't want to give a martial class a direct healing, but we think a Drunken Master theme still fits within Kensei and without just being a self-healing.
Yeah. You happen to, when you called it Drunken Master, all of a sudden, Drunken Master is my favorite martial arts film of all time, only followed by Drunken Master 2. So you named it accurately. You named it for me, I think. Here.
I was wondering why.
Yeah.
Usually you don't spoil things that I haven't talked about yet, but I could tell you couldn't hold it back this time.
There are also some abilities to up your DCs of tactical feats in the Kensei tree as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anything
Well,
else you kind of want to say about
Yeah,
Kensei?
the boost now that used to be +8 strength is now plus to all attributes.
Oh, right.
So not only will that boost tactics and DCs, but it's just an overall boost to saving throws, which the fighter could use. So when you hit that, you'll get a nice +4 boost to all your saving throws because your attributes just went up.
Great. All right, let me, while we answer some questions here, I'm going to try to get a slightly more interesting picture on the screen here. Why don't we talk a little bit, just knock a few out quick. Any new augments in the works? I know people have been wanting those healing augments for, pretty much since we debuted the augment system. They want healing amplification.
I'll let the deal with augments out of the bag. The way the current augments work is they work through the crafting system, which is laggy and not that good. And we have a new interface and clean augment system, which works much better. And you saw the beginning of it with green steel. So before we add new augments, we'd like to update the augment system to use this new system where you can slide things back and forth into that window rather than crafting them on. And when we do that, we can also pull off a whole bunch of crafting recipes, which will make the crafting system less laggy. But we don't want to introduce the old kinds of augments until we figure out what we're going to do. The big problem with that is that the existing augments become problematic, and we're going to have some slick code to give the players a way to convert the old augments to new augments. And that's not a trivial piece of design, and that's the hold up on the whole augment thing.
All right. Is that mummy the one that was in the new quest? I believe that was yours. Is that a new mummy model?
No.
Okay.
It's a remix. It's the regular mummy with some extra epaulets.
He's wearing a gear set that we modified to work on the mummies for Orchard of Macabre, but hasn't been used since.
Right.
What about favor? I know that that's something that comes up pretty regularly during these preview chats. Are we going to touch the favor system again? I know in particular some folks want that PDK 500 favor.
Right. We owe some people some rewards, and we know we do. We're hoping we can get those in a reasonable time frame, but I can't. I don't have a definite date.
King Cosmo's bringing up something that we have also seen in chat, that some of the gnome climbing and swimming is not 100% accurate on the model. We are aware of that. That's something we'll have to put in our queue to perhaps look at in the future here as time permits. Any plans to update Monk?
Yep. So once Fighter is done, we're going to start looking at what's next. We want to do some changes to Monk, at least some small ones, but the problem with Monk is that to really do the Monk right, we have to update the hand wraps, and that's a large technical task. So the question is, can we buff Monk a little bit now so that the Monk players, especially the unarmed, get some bonuses, and then revisit Monk, or do we have to wait and do the whole thing in one big chunk? That's the design discussion currently.
Yeah. SPC Dragon 13 says, "Is there a way to organize our TR bank? I could troll you and say yes, take your stuff out of it." But that's not the question you actually want answered.
The problem is the TR bank conceptually was never meant to be a bank, right? It was a convenience for what to do when people, because we didn't want you to have to take all of your gear off in order to TR, and people have been just kind of stacking stuff in the TR cache over and over again. So I know that, like, we kind of don't want it to be convenient, because that is a bit of database your character carries around with you that adds to load times. So that's why we haven't upgraded your ability to update it.
Yeah, and there are some other concerns there as well that I know I've heard from various engineers over the years. I would notice that it is kind of noticeable that the community often calls it the TR bank, but its actual name is a TR cache.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be a player feature.
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, exactly right. All right. Eris wants to know if that confetti thing might be contributing to the lag. I have not seen any indication that that would be the case.
From a particle system standpoint, it's actually a very small particle system. So.
Any plans to add a new Epic Destiny? That's one we hear fairly regularly as well.
I think that before we touched and added a new Epic Destiny, we'd want to balance some of the existing ones.
Yeah. King Cosmo wants to have a specific bug addressed with Legendary Greensteel or Conjure Bolts. Thing on Legendary Greensteel doesn't Conjure Bolts. I think it's because it's using the old scroll tech that also didn't Conjure Bolts.
Oh.
But that's something that's in our queue to hopefully take a look at here in the near future. When is the toughness tree coming out? Every April 1st.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
You laugh, but I would love to actually implement that and have it available only on April 1st, and then like the next day it frees up the points.
Alright. Any plans for an iconic dwarf/orc? Those are two different things.
Unless you mean
Not together.
Unless you mean a dwarf.
Half dwarf, half orc?
Yeah.
There you go. No, I don't know that we have any plans to do a iconic dwarf. It's something we do see in chat and in the forums fairly every now and then people want, say, a Moradin specialist.
I mean, would people want like a Dwarger?
Yeah, Durgor, or
Yeah,
like I say, a follower
like Raid
Raid,
Dwarves
that
from-
kind of thing. Is the gnome enhancement for wand scroll mastery going to be fixed? We'll have to look into the status of that one. I'm not quite sure just off the top of my head what the issue is with that one, but I'm sure that our bug folks are aware of that. Will Sharadi be balanced better for it to be called the Ranger Epic Destiny?
Sharadi is always, because it procs on spell casting, Sharadi has always been really good with casting because you can spam magic missiles with it. And yes, what I don't want to do at this point is that the players have a particular love for the trees. I don't want to make it less effective for what they've been using it for if I can help it. But I hear you on the Shirati being maybe less good for missile attacks. We'd have to look at that.
Not high enough level. Oh well. Alright, let's see. Can we buy Militia's armor? Sorry, she's wearing it.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we disable Shirati in PvP? We don't have any plans to really do any major adjustments to the PvP realm at this point. I suppose if we had enough people that were interested in us, perhaps, setting aside the time for that, that's something we could look at. But I don't know of any immediate plans to do that. More illusion spells. Everyone wants to see that one. For gnomes, that's something, a piece of feedback we've been hearing. Psionics is something I think that comes up in every one of these chats as well. I don't know that our position on psionics has changed at all. Or has it? I don't know. You got anything to say
We'd
about
love to
psionics?
do psionic. The problem with psionics, once you add psionics, you have to kind of add a lot of psionics.
Yeah.
So if we did like some sort of like big update or psionic expansion with we'd need 3 classes in a new race to do it well, and that's a tremendous amount of work. Because I'd want Githyanki and Githzeri player characters if we were going to do psionics. Then you need Psychic Warrior and a Scion, and that's probably minimum. And then if we did that and we didn't have Soul Blade, the players would be like, why don't you have Soul Blade? How do you not have that? Because I know that's popular. So it's a can of worms that I would love to do that.
Do all the things. There you go. New airship buffs. I know that we have talked in the past about our desire to do at least another large hook point at some point in the future. Nothing to announce there at this time. Audio's not so hot, huh?
We just gave you a kobold and a giant gelatinous cube. How much more can you want from kobold bosses? Or is that not the same thing?
Let's see if I can just.
I kind of wanted a giant kobold boss that would Godzilla through the harbor and destroy things.
I tried to make that work. It was kind of trouble with them.
Yeah.
Making buildings explode on the fly was problematic, especially when people were trying to trade and use the option house.
See if that takes care of it. Our audio issue.
Audio is gone. I guess that means our audio issue is gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, great. So we could just quickly, we're actually pretty close to wrapping up our stream here. Why don't,
You might be able to reboot Skype.
yeah, well, Skype isn't even running at this point, so it would be an exploit issue. Perhaps this might have improved things. Maybe.
Yay.
Yeah.
Apparently so.
Well, why don't we just wrap it up then, huh? Any final thoughts?
If the audio just got fixed, there are a couple more questions that people
Yep.
want to do before we go.
There we go. Okay, yep. So basically it looks like we have some kind of XSplit issue, probably because it's been running for an hour and a half now,
Right.
and it's just got some kind of thing going on there. All right, so let's answer just a couple more questions and then wrap things up. What are we looking to do with the server issue and all the recent lag? We did just address that just a little bit ago. You could probably watch the archive for that. We do have some things in the works that we are working on. Will there be more puzzles in New Quest raids?
There may be more. There will certainly be more puzzles. Whether there will be new puzzle types depends on what sort of updates we're doing. Something like the update we just did, which was 3 little quests. Probably not. Bigger update, you might see new puzzle types.
Aramia wants to know what our plans are for a caster pass. Quote, caster pass, work perhaps on wizard, sorcerer, that kind of thing.
Well, right now, we just added a caster pass, but instead of doing the pass on the trees, because the casters were in pretty good shape in heroic, we concentrated on giving the casters some powerful options in the epic where they fell behind. I think sorcerer is probably in good shape, and wizard probably needs a pass or at least some small buffs to bring it up to line. I think most people see that sorcerer does fairly well, and you have to really be a dedicated wizard to try to get that to work because it's harder to build. Like Eldritch Knight could probably use some boosts now, and some of the wizard stuff can probably use some boosts. So I don't think that you're going to have the same kind of caster pass on heroic that you saw with some of the other stuff. Probably wizard will get boosted.
All right. Any love for artificers in the future?
Well, we just did one of their trees. We know that artificer needs a third tree. That much certainly has to happen, along with favored soul. So those are high on our list of things that need to get done. But I think that there's still one more artificer tree that needs to get touched. And long term, I'd like to see the artificer pets scale better.
All right, let's take one more question and then maybe wrap things up. You have anything you're seeing in chat that you guys
our goal for cleric eventually is to give them domains to help differentiate them from favored soul, and I think that will help bolster them and make them feel different.
Great, thank you very much. Dragons/live. If you guys in the chat room stick around for just a little bit, I'm going to get back to my desk, and then I can do a little bit of a Turbine Point giveaway to a couple of you folks here as a way to say thanks for stopping by today.
What about me?
Well, you can grab some from my desk anytime you want. You know that. There's a big... All right. No, anyway.
All right.
Anyway, thanks everyone for joining us for this preview here on twitch.tv/DDO stream. Thanks for playing DDO. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you in-game. /DDO stream. Thanks for playing DDO. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you in-game.